The development of such a science as Turkology in Kazakhstan during the Soviet period left much to be desired. Ancient Turkic texts decoded by foreign scholars were not so accessible in Kazakhstan. Therefore, it was important that we also have our own scientist who would know the ancient Turkic writing and convey it with love and care to an audience.
Otandastar көшіп келгеннен кейін мына Eurasian University'nin ашып, оны енді қоғамтану жағымен.
At that time, the rector of the Eurasian National University was Murzatai Joldasbekov. There were no Turkologists at all at the university. Jibek advised the rector to hire a specialist from Mongolia, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly. That is me. He said that he had met me abroad at conferences, knew my work and recommended me. Thus, I was invited to Kazakhstan. With the return of Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly to Kazakh country, the science of Turkology has risen to a new level. Karzhaubay's dream to minister his native people and to contribute to the prosperity of his ancestral homeland came true in 2001. He was invited to teach at the Eurasian National University named after Lev Gumilyov, provided us with an apartment and created all the conditions for life. Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly. Today this name is widely known in Kazakhstan. It was one who proved that Kazakhs are descendants of the great civilization of Turks, studied their languages, history, literature, culture, and traditions. Mukagali Makatayev has written about the transmission of heritage from generation to generation. So I return the words of the ancestors written 2,000 or 3,000 years ago to the current generation. I pass on the messages of our ancestors to today's young generation. He comes to work early in the morning and works very hard on his scientific articles and researches. Opening a book, he does not look up from it. If there is a problem, he will not leave until he solves it. That's the kind of person he is. In order to develop an ethno-linguistic integrated methodology in combination with linguistics, archaeology, history, ethnography, as well as with Turkic traditions and worldview, the scientist conducted a huge study. Ancient Turks put such stones in a horizontal position and wrote texts from right to left. The stone belongs to the Saka period, to the Scythians. They were found on the Yenisei in the Hakas lands, where other valuable exhibits were found, such as this one. But his secret has not yet been revealed. Before him, the researchers conducted only a linguistic analysis of Turkic texts. In turn, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly conducted a large comprehensive study. As a result, it was possible to reveal the mystery of the indigenous Turks hidden from us to this day. For example, this exhibit is Tazi. We believe that Tazi has Arabian, Persian roots, but for example, this figure was made in central Mongolia in the 8th century. Thanks to the research work of Professor Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly, the heritage of the ancient Turks was not just supplemented, but was introduced into the scientific circulation. This is burial complex of Kutluk Kagan, the father of Kultegen. The sculptures of his Batars, the totemic wolf, leopards, are installed here, and the signs of 56 tribes are carved on the steels.
56 тайпаның таңбасы қашалған.
Руника, ондай сөздерді оқыған қиын. Осы жылда мен көрдім, ағай зерттеп отырғанда бір сөз...
These runic texts are very difficult to read. This year I saw how Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly to study one word from the runic text considered a huge number of languages. For example, the spelling of this word in Kazakh, Uzbek, and Hakkas languages, as well as the transcription, makes a thorough analysis. This is a very difficult job.
Транскрипциясын жазып, сондан қарастырып, анализін жасап, солай береді. Соған ол ондай оңай жұмыс деп ойламаймын.
In order to recreate the historical and cultural heritage of the Turks and develop for the benefit of the nation, he has been traveling around the entire Mongolian steppe for 40 years and restored the legacy left after our ancestors.
Міне күлтегініңіздің суреті мынау немісіні бас мүсіні.
This sculpture is a monument to Kultegan. From the depths of centuries, he seemed to say, "Hey, you Turks, do not trust anyone. Always remember this and pass on from generation to generation. The Turkic people must exist forever." This is the parting word to us. He was not a Han or a Kagan, he was a commander.
кеткен атамыз мына күлтеген. Бұл қан болған жоқ, уәзір болған жоқ. Бұл қолбасшы болған.
Turkic monuments of Mongolian Plateau are located in the Altai and Khangai massifs. They are divided into two categories, large and small inscriptions. Today there are 13 large stelas with such inscriptions.
Оның сыртында бұл жаңағы Орхун бойындағы орталық Азияда.
We found out that large monuments ashore of Orkhon River are painted only in Kipchak language. Before that, scientists believed that these writings were written in Uyghur language, but we have proved that the stone shows an inscription that states that for 500 years Turks and Kipchaks had ruled here.
Türk Kıpçak bizde 500 yıl басқарды дейді.
In addition, about 120 small inscriptions were found in the Mongolian steppe. Having studied them, the scientist Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly wrote 17 scientific monographs, more than 250 scientific articles. Thereby, he made an invaluable contribution to the national treasure.
Осындай дүниеде ал біз осының бәрін тоққымай сықымдап отырып, бүкіл өмірімізді осыған арнап,
a huge heritage is kept here. 12 large stelas found in Mongolia. Having studied these 120 small inscriptions, we created a 3-volume large atlas. This is property, spiritual wealth, property of the Kazakh people.
үлкен атласын 3 том жасап шығып, осы кешегені тұсаукесерін өткіздік. Бұл қазақ халқының меншігі.
Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly was born in the vastness of the Altai Mountains, called the Golden Cradle of the Turkic world. To be more precise, he was born in Mongolia. Therefore, scientists consider him a descendant of a nomadic civilization that has not been interrupted for centuries. Thanks to the upbringing of the deceased mother, Asia, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly has developed an interest in history since childhood. She was not only Jershi, but also knew the Arabic language. Even before going to school, little Karzhaubay had learned Arabic writing. Eventually, he passed on to his children the upbringing that he himself received with his mother's milk.
Қазақтың салт дәстүр сақталуына, қазақтың тілі шұбарланбай, балалар өз ана тілдерінде білім алуына өте.
He made a great contribution to the preservation of the language, traditions, and culture of Kazakh people. In 1990, when the Parliament of Mongolia approved a new constitution based on demographic principles, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly introduced and defended the 8th article on the status of Kazakh language. Thus, Kazakhs living in Mongolia received the right to study in their native language.
Баян-өлгейдегі или Монголияда тұратын қазақтар өз ана тілінде оқып үйренуге құқылы деген сондай бапты енгізген бірде бір адам қажет.
In 1965, the issue of Education and Labor published in Kazakhstan fell into the hands of Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly. The article of the famous scholar Who is Kultegan was published there. In this article, the ancient Turkic alphabet and information of the ancient Turks were presented.
Ол кезде бізде мына Қазақстанның барлық баспалары Монғолияға тарайтын. Алып тұратын менің бір ағам бар еді, аптеканың меңгерушісі, сол кісі әр нөмір сайын алып отырады. Сосын бір күні мынандай бір
I had a friend who worked with Kazakh publishing houses. Once he showed me the alphabet of runic writing and said that Mongolia is his homeland. To this day, I keep this at home. From that moment, I became interested in runic letters, learned all the letters, and still engaged into this.
жыртып алдым да сақтап қойып қойдым, жоғалтып аламын ғой деп. Бүкіл бүтін журналды алу жүру тағы қалай болады деген ойым. Содан әріптерін жаттап алдым. Сөйтіп жүрдік, содан сол қызығып, аңсаутта сол өзімді белгілеудерім, сонымен жазып қойып жүремін. Сөйтіп жүріп, бұнымен айланыстым мен.
Carried away by turkology seriously, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly enrolled into the State University of Mongolia, majoring in Mongolian language of the Faculty of Philology.
Біз екеуміз де Монғолия ұлттық университетінде оқыдық. Мен орыс тіл факультетінде.
We studied together at the National University of Mongolia. I met him in my third year at the Faculty of Mongolian Literature. He was an active student who participated in scientific conferences. He was very distinguished among all Kazakh-speaking students.
Қатысатын қазақ студенттердің лидері болған сондай студент болды.
During his studies, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly began to make presentations at scientific conferences. Having paid attention to a capable student, teachers began to place special hopes on him.
Жақсы айланыстым. Оның кейін сол Монғолдың бір Чойыл Ұсынжап дейтін докторы 12.
I studied well. When I wrote my first work in Mongolian in my first year of study, I caught the eye of a polyglot teacher who knew 12 languages. I took the first place among all the participants and was given $150 as a prize. It was really big money then. So participating in conferences and seminars, I studied and graduated from university.
$50 сыйлық берді, ол көп ақша ол кезде. Содан айланысып, содан университетті бітірдік.
At the end of the study, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly defended a diploma on the topic, the language of the Tonikok monument.
Сол енді мен жолым ашылды, шетелдерге шыға бастадым.
After the university, all roads were open for me. I started traveling abroad. I was in Turkey, Germany, Bavaria, and later I went to cities like Leningrad, Moscow, and Novosibirsk to improve my qualifications. There I met the delegations from Kazakhstan more than once.
Осы кезде Қазақстандағы азаматтармен интеллигенциямен таныс болдым.
Today, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly, who has devoted his whole life to the study of the ancient Turkic heritage, is already more than 70 years old.
Karzhaubay аға ашық кісі, бәрімен
He's a very responsible and kind person to young specialists and scientists who ask him no matter what, help, advice, material. Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly helps them from the bottom of his heart, consulting, advising, helping, and researches. He will never refuse to help anyone.
жұмыстарына көмектесіп, қай жерде түсініктеме керек, соның бәрін беріп, барлығына сол шамасымен көмек көрсетеді.
Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly is not only an outstanding scientist, but also an exemplary family man, caring father, loving grandfather, children say.
Өте қамқор, сосын әйел жанын өте жақсы түсінетін адам. Енді баламен үйде отырамыз, сондай кездерде өте көп.
He's a very caring person who understands the woman's soul very well. Sometimes he, understanding us and supporting us, takes care of the children with pleasure. He always cheers everyone up. He's not the kind of person who's engaged in job only. In the family, he, in absolutely any situation, will understand and support any of us. He always knows everything and is ready to provide support at any time. He always says, "We'll come up with everything." He always gives a helping hand.
Әрқашан қамқор, көмекші, бір нәрсе жасаймыз, осындай идеям бар еді деп не қылса, әрқашан қолдауын көрсетіп, шамасы келгенше көмегін береді.
біріншіден ол кісінің туралығы өте қатты ұнайды.
The first thing I would like to point out in him is his character. If I'm mistaken in something, then he directly says everything as it is in face. The second thing I would like to note is his cheerfulness. No matter what happens, he always smiles, and I also, looking at my grandfather, always try to smile and think positively.
Ұқсауға тырысып, мен де күліп жүруге тырысамын.
The respect of the beloved spouse of the head of the family contributes to the successful activities of the husband. Thanks to her support in maintaining the family hearth and raising children, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly has the opportunity to pay more attention to history, science in general.
Қажекең енді керемет ана, керемет әке, керемет отағасы.
My husband is a good father, the head of the family. He has a special attitude to children, relatives, and friends. He always provides irreplaceable help and support to family, especially children.
Өте сондай балаға деген қамқорлық, семьяға деген қамқорлығы өте керемет.
They have 3 sons and 2 daughters. All of them found their place in life, received higher education, and became professionals in their fields of activity. For example, my kids' names are Yesiltegin, Jantegin, Yeltegin. These are my sons. Also, my grandchildren are Bulategin, Nurtegin, Aitegin, Aybartegin. And daughters have such names as Bobi Begim, Aybobi, Kunbobi, that have same roots of Bobi. These are, first of all, the names that the ancient Turks gave to their children. For instance, Begim means Bek's wife. Tegin means prince. We must not forget it. Names are the legacy left for us from our ancestors, so we should maintain established traditions and honor the memory of our ancestors.
Сол атты көтеріп жүру үшін дегенде адамға тек қана емес.
The name must be followed. For example, if your name means prince, then you should try to conform to this concept.
Ханзада деген ол оңай ат болмағандықтан мен де сол атқа сай, атыма затым сай болу үшін енді тырысып жатырмыз.
Yes, this family pays great attention to the choice of the child's name. Indeed, for Aksakal Karzhaubay, who has been studying the history of the ancient Turks all his life and deciphering runic texts, raising a child begins from birth. Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly's successor is his son Jantegin. Now he is successfully studying ancient Turkic monuments and Turkology together with his father.
Менің ұлым бар, осы жастайынан 5-ші класстан бастап ертіп тәрбиелеген. Жантегин деген ұлым бар.
I have a son, Jantegin. I have been raising him since the 5th grade. He's such a capable child. Now he speaks 5 languages. He speaks Turkish very well, speaks English, knows Mongolian and Russian, and his native Kazakh language is especially good. I'm very proud of him.
Орыс тілін біледі деген сияқты өзім. Ұлттық қазақ тілі, ұлттық тілі оған ерекше жақсы. Осы балам тәрбиеледі.
Returning to Kazakhstan, Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly has made an invaluable contribution to its development in 20 years. Home of his family is located in the capital of Kazakhstan. This is the house in which all relatives, children, grandchildren of the outstanding scientist Karzhaubay Sartkozhauly gather for a large dastarkhan.